That was crazy. The live performance, I was so nervous. I felt my heart pumping out of my chest. And I was like, this is not what acting usually does to me. Acting would never do this to me.
On this episode of Cultura Clash, singers who act and actors who sing.
Singing comes very natural to me. I feel more pressure as an actor.
Like a new artist, I feel like that, but in a new world.
Is there a viable path from acting to singing? Is it cutting the line?
I think if you establish yourself in one career, then you will have an easy transition. Whether you'll be good at it or not, that's up to you.
Plus, when it comes to Latin representation in media, has it become necessary to be multi-hyphenated?
I have to put more energy into proving that I can do more than what is expected of me.
We're breaking it all down, sin filtro, always tackling the biggest topics in Latin music and culture.
Dominating the world.
Todos quieren ser Latino.
This is Cultura Clash.
Dímelo, dímelo, dímelo. Welcome to Cultura Clash. I'm sitting alongside some incredible guests joining us today. Singer and rapper who's worked with both Bad Bunny and Eugenio Derbez, El Épico, Lunay. Singer-songwriter leading a new generation of indie pop and alternative Latin, Ambar Lucid. And finally, actress and singer-songwriter who you might know from Dora and the Lost City of Gold, currently starring as Juliet in the readaptation Rosaline, Isabela Merced. So the first question for everybody is, when's the first time you performed for others? Was it singing or acting, and when?
I grew up in a small town, and my first introduction to really music and everything and performing was through karaoke. I had a Filipino neighbor who always threw karaoke parties, and so I would just sing. And I have a picture of me barefoot, microphone cord in between my big toe and my second toe, as sitting on the ground singing with like bedazzled jewels all over my face, and that was my first kind of experience.
How old are you?
So I was probably like 5 or 6 or something like that.
I think for me it was in middle school. I was in the school chorus and in band.
Lunay, la primera vez que te presentaste.
Primera vez, era a los 6 años, 6 years on the church. Empecé en la iglesia, así que esa fue la primera experiencia que tuve con la música. Fui creciendo, fui yendo a la escuela, fui haciendo amistades y moldeé mi personalidad a ser un artista de reggaetón mundial.
What do you each feel you're most known for?
La comunidad y mis fanáticos me conocen obviamente por la música. Al yo decir que quiero entrar en el mundo de la actuación, pues es como decimos un crossover, pero tengo los fanáticos que siempre están listos para aceptarme en cualquier tipo de transición que yo quiera hacer, así que estoy bien feliz de poder entrar en este nuevo mundo. En verdad me encanta mucho actuar y cantar, así que no veo ahora mismo otra salida. Ya mismo te diré y te puedo decir más adelante, pero estoy bien enfocado en la música y pues en la actuación.
Te vi en la película de ballet. Me
gustó?
encantó. Sí,
Brutal.
y tu cameo
Eugenio.
fue, pero muy divertido. Yo también trabajé con Eugenio.
Gracias,
sí.
En verdad es lo mejor para trabajar con Eugenio. Es de las mejores experiencias.
Eugenio es un amor de gente. Sí. He's the best. He's the best.
Mejor.
How about you?
I would say acting, but there's a rare few people who've come up to me and been like, oh, you sang the song Papi. And I'll be like, wait, that's where you know me from? Okay, I'll take it. Yeah, I love music. I just got to do it more.
There you go. How about you, Ambar?
Well, music is my first love, so I'm always dedicated to that, but I'm also very passionate about all forms of art, so I see myself honestly diving into many different things. Like I really like making visual art, mixed media art, digital art, so I see myself tapping into different things that I probably don't even know right now.
Do you feel it's more of an advantage or disadvantage to already have a career in one area and then try to pursue another lane? And do you feel when you're focusing on one, you're losing the skills on the other side?
Bueno, para empezar, yo creo que es una desventaja cuando no calcula o no hace el balance. Cuando haces el balance, no hay por qué, no tiene que haber una desventaja, sino más una ventaja de una nueva oportunidad y de mezclar dos mundos, la música y pues la actuación.
Y también balance entre tu vida personal
también,
y tu
exacto,
carrera.
Eso es súper importante.
Súper importante. Y eso es donde yo, no sé, me confundo y...
Nos olvidamos a veces de esa parte.
How do you create those boundaries when it comes to that personal life?
I'm still figuring it out. That's what I got to figure out today.
Lunay, we saw you singing and acting in the ballet. Are those the kind of acting opportunities you're looking for? Ones that also incorporate your music, or are you open to all kinds of characters?
Estoy abierto a diferentes tipos de roles. De ballet fue mi primera experiencia. Estoy agradecido con Rebeca, con Gaby, con Chris, con todo mi manejo que me presentó esa oportunidad y lo hicieron posible. Esta es la primera y me encantó. Me sentí como si estuviera grabando un video. En realidad me sentí súper cómodo, me sentí en otro ambiente de los míos, como decimos. Así que quiero que sea de ballet y que sea un montón de películas. Si no es película, algo que tenga que ver con el arte pues, de la pantalla grande.
What would be your dream role?
My dream role,
Yeah.
like a model, like a Charm City Kings, you saw that movie.
Okay.
Como de eso, como de, ¿sabes? Un poquito de deportes extremos, como de
Okay.
snowboarding, como de surf, como oír lo que sea, lo que aparezca, acción, comedia, lo que sea.
Isabela, would you say there is a viable path for those who go from singing to acting?
That's really interesting. I think if you establish yourself in one career significantly enough, then you will have an easy transition. Whether you'll be good at it or not, that's up to you, you know? So you just, where do you assert yourself is kind of what it is.
You released a single, Agonía in March. You were in Father of the Bride this year as well. How do you balance both at the same time? And do you find yourself having to hold back one for the other?
Definitely. I don't think I've mastered the balance yet, but I don't think it's about mastering it. I think it's about enjoying the art, and that's why I have to keep reminding myself, like, don't do this for other people. Like, life is too short to do this for other people. So whatever you want to do, just do it, you know? Like,
For
shit.
you.
Amber, as an emerging artist who coexists in both worlds, do you think you'd have an advantage in booking acting gigs being a singer?
I think I definitely have an advantage being a singer. My experience with acting, though, I've realized that I get offered pretty much the same role. It's always, they emphasize a Latino character that's very like loud or out there. So that's something that I'm kind of frustrated about because like the stuff that I'm into, like I'm really into like horror stuff. So I would love to like, I'll be offered a role in a horror movie or stuff that's like more artsy, not just the same role.
Do you feel comfortable when you're playing that artist role, though?
Oh yeah, for sure. I mean, because it's basically like just being myself. Like when I was on Elite, it didn't feel like I was acting. I was just being myself in like a big production.
What would be that horror role scene? What role would you play?
So I really like horror movies about cults. So
Okay.
I don't know, maybe like a cult leader or something like that.
I see that.
Which one do you feel is your go-to? And which one do you feel that you have to spend a little bit more time working on?
Well, for me, I definitely feel like I have to work more on acting just because singing comes very natural to me. Like I've performed long enough where I can be on stage and not even really think about it. But I feel more pressure as an actor because it's not my, well, I don't want to say it's not my go-to, but I'm just more familiar with performing as a singer.
Yo estoy familiarizado con lo que dijo Ambar de que hay que, en mi caso, pues le dedicaría también un poco de enfoque a lo de la actuación y a lo de las películas, porque ya lo del performance y lo de la música uno lo tiene en la sangre, así que yo me siento también como cuando uno toca puertas como un artista nuevo, like a new artist. I feel like that, but in a new world of the movies.
Pues I think a lot of whether or not you're comfortable with something depends on familiarity. So, you know, I just performed with Il Volo here in LA the other day.
Fire.
That was crazy because I haven't done that in so long, like a live performance. I was so nervous, I felt my heart pumping out of my chest, and I was like, this is not what acting usually does to me. Acting would never do this to me. But also, acting's weird too. Like I do get moments where I'm just so uncomfortable and I just feel like the artificial environment more than usual. And I don't know, I guess both are really exhilarating and I'm an adrenaline junkie, so I don't think I can choose.
Latin representation in media right now. How do you feel? Where are we? More work needs to be done.
About Latin,
Yeah.
we are dominating the world.
Todos quieren ser latinos.
La capital del perreo, tú lo sabes.
I just wanna, as I evolve in acting, I would definitely like to play very different roles than the ones that I've been, tapping into recently. Yeah, I just wanna see, more Latino characters that aren't stereotypes. For me personally, I feel like I have to put more energy into proving that I can do more than what is expected of me.
Do you feel that as Latinos right now, we need to be multi-hyphenated? Like we need to do more than just one thing in order to be seen?
I don't think individually we need to be as multi-hyphenated. I think, again, we need to protect our souls and our well-being. But what we could do is be more united. I think we can look at the Black community and what they've been doing with creating their own projects because the white people wouldn't do it for them. And we have Jordan Peele, we have Tyler Perry. Tyler Perry has his own studio. Like, what if we did that as Latinos and we just kind of created this collective where we're purposefully going out of our way to make Latin stories featuring Latinx storytellers?
We're seeing more Latinist pop culture right now. What are your thoughts on Bad Bunny, who's killing it right now in the music scene, landing a role in Marvel as the first Latin superhero?
Estoy contento y orgulloso porque es de Puerto Rico, o sea, una estrella de Puerto Rico que a Puerto Rico y al mundo entero y a la comunidad latina pues nos están orgulleciendo y está haciendo cosas increíbles, así que hay que darle su respeto siempre, siempre y me gustó su papel demasiado.
I think it's amazing.
Love it.
Regardless of whether or not him being like the #1 artist, I think the representation is really important.
He killed it in Bullet Train.
I mean,
And I don't know why they didn't call me up to be in El Muerto with him. I'm pissed. I'm in the same universe. But nah, we'll talk about it later, I guess.
Isabela, you starred alongside Andy Garcia and Gloria Estefan in Father of the Bride. Talk about Latin icons.
Oh my
How
God.
was it working with them, and could you share a couple of gems that you learned just being in their presence?
It was the most unique experience of my life, I think, because it was a project, like I said, made by Latinos for Latinos. So everybody was having a great time all the time. And Andy's so experienced, Gloria's so experienced. You know, what I learned from Gloria was that she made a huge hit like Conga, and she has no choice but to hear it every day. And I went over her house, there was a huge yacht that passed by and they were doing tours. And they all waved at her on her own house, like she has no privacy. And what she did was she waved and she danced back and singing conga. And I'm like, bro, you should be annoyed of that song at that point. But she looks at it as that's what gave me my notoriety. That's what is the reason why I have this house that I live in. So if someone comes up to me calling me Dora, I'm gonna be like, yeah, soy Dora. Exactly.
That's it, wrong with it, right?
I don't get bothered by it.
You've been on many sets. Do you feel the difference when it's the story's being told by a Latin creator and when it's not?
Yeah, I mean, I think that's why it was one of the best experiences I've had filming a movie, because there's just this automatic familiarity and kind of love entre los Latinos because we always just kind of embrace each other, and there's always un abrazo, un besito, cuando nos saludemos, or we're like, bye, you know. It's automatically a warmth, and there's also an understanding. Every night we would go out to eat or drink. Andy would be like, come take tequila shots in my trailer. And we would all just after the day was over, we just hung out. It was so much fun.
It's a tradition.
Yeah.
Cultural capital, as we say. Lunay, legends and goats like Daddy Yankee jumped on records for you, with you, Bad Bunny, you're continuing to grow. Do you feel that gave you an advantage?
Pues yo creo que suma mucho y me da una ventaja de que ya tengo como un portafolio de música y un portafolio visual de mis videos, de cómo puedo actuar o de cómo me veo como artista. Agradecido con Bad Bunny y con Daddy Yankee que, ¿sabes? Dijeron que sí para Soltera Remix y eso me cambió la vida. Yo sé que si eso no hubiera estado, como quiera yo iba a ser grande, yo iba a seguir trabajando, yo confío en mi talento y creo en mí, pero llegó esa bendición y eso también fue lo que hizo que mi carrera cogiera otro rumbo y we're here all day on the road.
That's it. Hiciste esa pieza en The Ballet. Do you feel como que cuando se trata de acting tienes que comenzar de cero? Like, do you feel like a rookie when it comes to acting, or do you feel that the charisma in your music career?
Tengo mucha seguridad en mí, pero tengo los pies en la tierra de que sí, de que soy un rookie, de que estoy empezando, de que no me puedo creer que ¿sabes? Tengo que confiar en mí, pero no me puedo creer más de lo que se supone. Siempre estoy ahí on the grind, en el suelo, con los pies en la tierra.
Isabela, when you see singers getting into acting, what are your first initial thoughts on that?
I'm always excited. I think the reason why people do it so much is because both are such an authentic expression of your emotions. And whether you're doing it on stage or in front of a camera, you're still putting on a facade in a way. You're still putting on a performance. I feel like I've seen a lot of singers bring me to tears, and they don't just do that with their voices. They do that with their ability to connect with the human beings that are watching them.
English or Spanish, what's your vibe when it comes to music? What do you feel more comfortable in?
Mira, a mí me gusta hablar en inglés en vez de español, pero escribir y cantar en español en vez de inglés, porque suena mejor, en mi opinión. Suena como más lindo y hay más palabras, no sé, románticas, ¿no? So, yeah.
How about you, Ambar?
I'm honestly really comfortable with Spanglish. Just because, like, if I'm writing a song and it's mostly in English, I can just, make it more interesting by adding something in Spanish. Same thing when writing a song that's like mostly in Spanish, I can throw in some English and mix things up, which is really nice.
Para mí,
Te escuché en unos cuantas palabritas y versitos en inglés. Sing me a couple of those,
let me feel your body.
Okay.
Eso es. I love do both, but mi esencia es español, pero siempre que me pillan esa magia de inglés, pues yo sé que yo puedo dar, sé que lo puedo dar.
Can you share with me a moment that you felt vulnerable, whether it was singing or acting?
Pues mira, un momento donde me sentí vulnerable o un poco mal fue cuando yo sabía el potencial que yo tenía y mucha gente no creía, pero dentro de mí yo sabía el armamento que yo tenía, así que eso no duró para siempre, eso no duró mucho, así que yo saqué eso para un lado y vamos para encima, hasta el Lunay, aguántense. Todos siempre ven mi personalidad y todos me decían, tú tienes algo para actuar, porque es que a mí me gusta improvisar con la música y me gusta improvisar situaciones, creo que me puedo adaptar y estoy aprendiendo eso de la actuación.
I think two instances where I always feel vulnerable with singing is when I'm in the studio writing, because I always write about my experiences, and a lot of the songs that I write are sad. So when I'm performing those songs, I really have to portray those emotions. So that can be really just nerve-wracking to do in front of like a whole crowd. I'm like, damn, like I'm really just spilling my tea to all these people.
How do you get yourself out of there after the performance?
People clapping and cheering, kind of being brought back by people being like, woo, yes! And I'm like, yeah, I'm back.
They did such a good job describing vulnerable moments, but I mean, for me, I think the goal is vulnerability. I think every time I express myself in art, I think you have to be in a vulnerable state. Otherwise, what are you selling, right? Because, I don't know, I just think the more vulnerable you are, the better the art.
How does applause and positive feedback affect your performance?
Well, positive validation is definitely really nice, but I feel like you can't always rely on feedback just because somebody's perspective is just based off of their past experience and the things that they've lived. I've had times when I've really loved a song or I've really loved something and I've showed it to somebody and they're like, this is okay. So I just try to follow what I feel really passionate about and what I feel really good about, and I trust that. And yeah, I try to allow my creativity and my creative drive to be my compass.
Like Lunay? Yo me recuerdo estando en uno de tus festivales en Barcelona, el Reggaeton Beach Festival, y más que 80,000 personas
2019.
cantando tu canción, 2019, comenzando tu carrera. ¿Cómo te sientes cuando te están dando tanto aplauso en una presentación?
Me siento bendecido, siento que es como un sueño que uno logra y me acuerdo de esos momentos en la escuela cuando la gente no creía en mí y todo eso me viene a la tarima, todo eso me viene como en flashbacks y me siento bien grande, me siento bien satisfecho de estar en una tarima cantando con un público, que era lo que yo soñaba.
Ahora lo negativo, ¿verdad? Porque obviamente todo el mundo tiene una opinión. ¿Cómo tú manejas esos comentarios y la crítica negativa?
Siempre trato de no escucharlo. Escucho más que de 3 personas, de mis manejadores, Chris, Gaby, production manager a la hora del stage. Por más que uno no quiera escuchar otra, uno la va a escuchar, pero sé cómo manejarla y es no abrirme ni no escuchar de tantas personas, simplemente con 2 personas que estén conmigo guiándome, que sepan que yo sepa que está en mi visión, nos comemos el mundo.
I mean, he's preaching right now, but I also agree with what you said. You know, you can't let it affect you either way, because if it's something you're truly passionate about, I mean, that's the finished product that you're sharing. Whether it resonates with somebody else or not, it's not up to you. It's kind of just their own projection.
Who are some role models that inspired you?
Rosalia and Pink Floyd.
Artists that I like that inspired me, oh, damn, Beyonce, every day. But also, you know, I grew up listening to classic singers, like Peruvian singers that my mom would put on when she was cleaning. Damn, there's so many, like Los Panchos también. I also really, really loved Robin Williams. May he rest in peace. He was everything to me, and he was ahead of his time, a fashion icon, just super versatile. Also somebody that, you know, made me aware of mental health and how important it is to take care of it.
Lunay?
On the music, Daddy Yankee, acting, Adam Sandler, Tyler Perry, Eugenio, a lot.
Love it. Thank you.
So you like comedy, comedia.
Yeah, I love comedy. Grown-ups,
Okay,
comedy,
okay.
comedy, OG comedy, you know.
Quizás en el futuro podemos, no sé,
Sí.
grabar una película de comedia.
If we look 15 years from now, what are some things that you would love to be on that list that you were able to do and accomplish? Or live, mejor dicho.
Be in a superstar movie and be happy all my life. That's it.
Well, my ultimate goal as an artist is to be legendary. And I want to be legendary in music, but also anything else creative that I may pursue. But I also would really like to have multiple Grammys.
Speaking it into existence, exactly. Well, 36 is 15 years from now, right, for me. That's kind of close to when I plan on faking my own death and then disappearing. But before that, I will hopefully have left enough advice and wisdom. I really hope that I get to share what I've learned with other artists. I don't know what it is. Even if I quit acting and singing by then, I hope I'm teaching somebody something, because I like to teach.
What a conversation. Thank you, Isabela. Thank you, Lunay. Thank you, Ambar. My name is AJ Ramos, and this is Cultura Clash. Hey.